Imagine yourself, over 60 years ago, wanting to record the guitar. Then, wanting to go back and add vocals. Caught you staring into my eyes. This would not be possible without the innovative creativity of Les Paul. Lester William Pulsfuss, better known as Les Paul. Les Paul invented multi-track recording and was one of the pioneer inventors of the electric guitar. These two innovations have revolutionized and impacted all of today's music. Les Paul was born on June 9, 1915, in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Paul showed a great interest in music at a very young age. One day, while playing outside, Paul watched as a ditch worker played his harmonica. The ditch worker saw how intrigued the young boy was, so he gave Les the harmonica. Enthusiastic Les arrived home with his new instrument. When Les's piano teacher sent his mother a note that read, "Your boy, Les, has no future in music," his mother kept encouraging Les to continue pursuing his dream. The day Les got his first guitar, he accidentally plucked a few strings while taking the guitar out of the box. His mother responded, "You're great already." Les was only 13 years old when he started playing his guitar and harmonica professionally. He called himself the Wizard of Waukesha. When Les was 17 years old, he began playing with Sonny Joe Wolverton's radio band. One day, when Les was performing at a barbecue stand, a car hop left a note to Les. Read, "Your voice and harmonica are fine, but your guitar's not loud enough." This note sparked the flame that was inside of Lester Pulsfuss. Les knew he had to figure out a way to amplify his guitar. Les started experimenting.
And I thought about it, and I said, well, if I got my dad's radio, what I could do then, I could amplify the guitar. And I figured, well, I'll take a needle and a pickup, jab it into the top of the guitar, and turn it on. And everybody says that's better. Now I got a needle in the top of the guitar, and instead of playing a record, I'm playing my guitar through my dad's radio and singing in the harmonica through my mom's radio.
I ran smack into the problem of feedback, so I filled the guitar with tablecloths and dirty socks. I tried everything. Then I took that out and filled it with plaster of Paris. That was better, but it still wasn't the answer. So, in ruining the guitar, I decided once and for all to find the best piece of wood or still. Les put wood or still inside the guitar body to reduce the feedback, and Les could play louder. Once Les had achieved amplifying his guitar, he immediately began to work on how he could make his new design better. In 1941, when Les was 26 years old, Les came up with the log. Les had to make this log look like a guitar, so he put one wooded wing on each side of the log. At the same time, he had competition with Leo Fender, who beat Les Paul to the punch with his solid body electric guitar. One of the turning points in history was the electric guitar, which led to the rock and roll era. One of the most famous rock and roll stars of Les Paul's time was Elvis Presley. Elvis would often use a Gibson Les Paul guitar while performing. It's safe to say that rock and roll as we know it would not exist without his invention. Although Leo Fender created the electric guitar first, Les introduced overdubbing, which was bigger and better than anything the electric guitar could do. John Carter, a professional studio engineer, explained the process of overdubbing as, overdubbing, or sound on sound, is when you record the first music track. Then you rewind the tape recorder, and on the second record pass, it takes the original track and the new track you are recording and combines them together. If you make a mistake, you ruin the first track and have to start the recording all over again. Les Paul disconnected the erase head, enabling the tape machines to record a second pass through the tape without erasing the first pass. You saved your most important pass for last. For instance, if vocals were the most important, they were saved until the last pass. Overdubbing would begin the change that revolutionized the world of recorded music. In 1951, when Les was 44 years old, he met Iris Colleen Summers, who changed her name to a catchier Mary Ford, the woman who Les Paul would later marry and help Les's career rise to the top. Les decided that it was time to add another singer to the band he was currently in. Les chose Mary to be the other singer. Les recalled of the night. I turned to my dad, and he was shaking his head no, and I was shaking my head yes. My dad said that I was a roughneck, and she was so delicate. You two will never make it together. We did. We met in 45 and married the day before New Year's, the last day of 49. Later in Les's life, Bing Crosby encouraged Les Paul to build his own studio. Here in this garage is where many of his innovations were born, including multi-track recording. Again, John Carter, professional studio engineer, explains.
Okay, multi-track recording is when you are able to make an initial recording on a tape machine, and then you're able to go back and listen to that initial recording, and without erasing it, add a second recording that plays back at the exact same time. And so you can do that with as many tracks as you have on your machine. So an 8-track tape machine allows you to make 8 separate recordings that will play simultaneously, and you can listen to all the previous ones while you're recording your current recording.
The concept for an 8-track tape was introduced in 1953. Les Paul recalled, "While filming, I was taking a rest and looking up at the sky. My manager asked what I was dreaming about. I said that recording using sound on sound was crazy. There's a better way. Stack the heads on top of each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and align them so we could do cell sync with all the heads in line. When I told my manager, I think it will change the world, he told me I should do something about it." This daydream revolutionized the entire world. Les Paul took the new invention to Westrex, a tape recording manufacturer in California. It won't work, they told him. So Les took multi-track recording to Ampex, another company that made tape recorders. Ampex called a large meeting, and they decided they could build a multi-track recording machine. They had to hire 7 people to start the manufacturing. This was the beginning of multi-track recording. Multi-track recording impacted the entire world. The face of all music was changed through this innovation. With this newly introduced method called multi-track recording, people could capture different sounds at different times and combine these sounds all together. Today, the world takes this phenomenon for granted, and we don't truly appreciate what Les Paul did for us. With their new method of recording, Mary Ford and Les Paul created one of their biggest hits, How High the Moon. This version of the song topped the Billboard charts for 9 weeks. Les Paul continued to make 6 more albums following the other 5 he had previously made. Les and Mary had their own TV show, Les Paul and Mary Ford at Home. Together, they would sing and perform.
Vaya con Dios, my love. Dear one, the world is waiting for the sun.
Les and Mary Ford were happily married for 15 years, but later divorced in 1964. Throughout Les Paul's life, he created several albums, won many awards, and received many honors, including the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1978, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1988, and the National Inventors Hall of Fame in 2005. In 2005, Les Paul released one of his last albums, Les Paul and Friends, American Made World Played, when he was 90 years old. On August 13th, 2009, at age 94, the man who made all of today's music possible passed away following complications from pneumonia. Les Paul might be remembered as a guitarist who had extraordinary talent, but the Wizard of Waukesha is more than that. Les Paul made all of today's music possible. Without him, you wouldn't hear what you heard on the radio from your drive over. Without Les Paul, you wouldn't hear your favorite song that always cheers you up. Without Les Paul, the technology we hear used in today's music would not be possible. Edwin Hurwitz, a professional musician and recording engineer in Colorado, said, "The Wizard of Waukesha changed music forever. Whether it's a headbanger banging out chords on a Les Paul guitar, a jazz player working his way through How High the Moon, or a recording engineer double-tracking a lead vocal, Les Paul's technical and musical pioneering has touched almost every aspect of the music we hear today. It's hard to condense his contributions down to one particular thing, but at the end of the day, I think the most important thing is that he gave us an example of how to live a life through music with love, inspiration, honesty, and humor. Who was this incredible human being who revolutionized all of the music we have today? Les Paul, the Wizard of Waukesha, whose innovations created many turning points in the history of music and technology."